Hi everybody, it is Friday the 5th of March. This is our new Keep in Touch briefing for parents, students and all members of SWS family. So a very brief couple of messages today, but very important ones. So I want to talk to you about three things. I've got some news to update you on. I want to talk about safety, and I want to include all the aspects of our control systems for safety and talk about testing. And then I want to just generally have a look at what it means to return to school over the coming week or so. So firstly, and on quite a somber note really, I want to share with you some very sad news we had this week. We were made aware that Mr. Gareth Jones, who was principal here and a deputy principal here and a deputy head at Victoria School, sadly passed away from a COVID-related illness earlier in the week. Now, I just want to reassure you that we have written to his family to acknowledge the work he did in the town, because he committed a great deal of his working life to supporting people who live in and around on our streets and in our school communities. And I know that many parents and older family members will have known Mr. Jones and worked alongside him. So really sad news. He was a relatively young man and had only just retired from a headship in Stoke. So we have passed on our thoughts and condolences to Mr. Jones's family. Okay, let's look ahead to the reopening of our school, the full reopening of our school, and let's look at a couple of key things really. And let's start with safety. I'm going to pick two things in the first instance. All right, what we want to do, what we want to achieve is getting back to where we were in the autumn term when our system of controls for safety was working really well. It meant the overwhelming majority of our children were in. Our attendance was way above national attendance levels during the autumn term. We want that level that minimises any kind of disruption and that keeps staff and students safe. Now, to do that, let's look at, first of all, testing. You can see from our plan that in our phased reopening, there is a testing routine every day as children come back in. So children will do 3 tests. Their first test to re-enter the school, and then we'll do some group testing, I think, from Monday the 15th of March to get to that 3rd test as quickly as possible, after which it will be a home testing program for families and for children. Now, details of that part will come out, I guess, over the next week or so from government. We've been testing since January. I mentioned this in a previous briefing. We've tested the staff twice a week, and we've tested the children of our critical workers who've accessed a place at school. And today we've started testing Year 11 students. So they've had their booking appointments, they've come in, and at the moment we have no positive tests. So the majority of Year 11 children will be with us on Monday morning, and they will go straight back into their taught lessons. We'll phase our students back in then. Year 10 will test on Monday, and we'll just stagger that start and have a proper induction around teaching and learning and around safety for every single one of our children. Now, relative to the testing program, I hope you've had a chance to see the testing video that we made with one of our students, Rhiannon, in Year 7, and Miss Sheridan. So have a look at that. It takes you all the way through that process so you know exactly what to expect. And then today we post our science faculty's video about general safety information on return to school, because all our control measures stay in place at the moment. The Hands, Face, Space campaign remains, and it's very important that everybody follows those routines. The one addition we have that I'm sure you're aware of by now is that the face covering rule extends to the classroom until the 1st of April when we break for Easter. So we've got roughly 3 weeks where all of us have got to work in those circumstances. So let's just pick up a couple of things on face coverings. However we feel about them, face coverings mitigate risk. They reduce the chance of transmission. And nationally, as 11 million people come back to school, it's a measure that the government feel is incredibly important. So we intend only to run that until the Easter break, but is it really important that everybody encourages, unless there is a medical exemption, encourages face coverings to be worn by all children so that we keep each other safe. And again, the bottom line of safety as well is disruption. We do not want people transmitting an infection, becoming ill, and then the school unable to function in its core business. So having young people or staff who are ill and education, again, just suffering because of that. So please encourage your children to wear face coverings, because that's what we'll be doing here at school. Okay, other than that, with the return to school, the structures remain the same. We're continuing with staggered starts, staggered breaks, staggered lunches, and the bubble model. And we'll review that at summer. We'll review that in light of any government guidance that comes our way in the coming months, and we'll see where we are by the end of the summer term. But that works for us. The overwhelming student voice was receptive and positive about it. They enjoy social time that's a little bit quieter and with their age group at lunchtimes and break times, etc. And we'll work our way through to what our future school day model will look like. The other part of back to school is back to routine. All right, now we've been away from school. Some of us, if we look at year 10 and the disruption in year 10, have been away from school for up to 14 weeks. So routine and getting back into routine quickly is going to be important. Obviously, school has been open, school has been functioning in a reduced way, but we are still in that routine. So let's pick on a few things here. We have high expectations about appearance and uniform. And in the first few days, that might be a challenge with some shops being closed. All right, just communicate with us. You know the communication routes into our pastoral support teams, and I'm sure we can help. But it will really be helpful if we know the type of challenges you may be having to see where that support can go. Good punctuality is encouraged at all times, and full attendance at school is mandatory now. So children back in, all children back in, let's maintain our high standards and get back into the groove of teaching and learning. And then there's other small basics that may have not been a feature of life for the past 14 weeks. Social distancing within school is incredibly important. But then on the other side of the spectrum, there is use of mobile phones. All right, I'm sure if you have a mobile phone, there are very few, if any, restrictions of your use in your free time. But in school, you know, we have a no phone rule. So adapting back in quickly to the expectations exist in school will make it easier for you and for everybody around you. Nothing that I've mentioned, it should be a surprise to you, really. You know how we work, and you know what makes school happy and successful for people, and we want a happy, safe, successful school full of happy, safe, successful young people. We're really excited about getting everybody back in. It's been fantastic to see staff in for the last 2 days on their training and induction, and today, albeit for the testing, it's been great to see some of the faces coming back in. And it just puts good energy back into everybody around Sir William Stanier. So let's look forward positively. I'll catch you up next week. Any questions, you know who to ask, you know how to get in touch with us, and you absolutely know where we are. So continue to stay safe. I hope you're all right. Look forward to seeing you soon. Have a great weekend.